What's up, y'all? This is your boy Simon Stone. We are here at NERDSEXY, netfreak.com, netfreaktv.com, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I got a special guest. Tonight we're going to be doing something very different. Usually we just come on here and clown, have fun, but tonight we're going to do something a little bit different, a little bit more serious, and raise a little bit of awareness. Right now, especially men in general, we deal with anxiety and traumas by not dealing with it. We try to bottle it up, and we don't go seek help that we need. We don't, we fear that people will see us as weak. We fear that people will have some type of a negative reaction to us going to get the help that we need. So my brother, good friend of mine, a good guy, he has made a book, Fred Nutter. It's a good book. I actually couldn't put it down. Voluntary Torture is the name of the book. It's about dealing with PTSD. It's literally a PTSD story by Fred Nutter. I'm going to talk to this gentleman. We're going to talk about the things that we should do to try to get some help, and he's going to tell his story. So welcome, my brother. I used to call him King Speaks, you understand? But
King Speaks is still in there somewhere,
still in there
man.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's just on a little hiatus. Fred Nutter had to get healthy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that King Speaks could live.
Yeah, there we go, man. There we go.
Continue to create and express the way he desires to.
Exactly,
so,
exactly. And I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I really, I can't even say enough, because just from the perspective of not just the perspective of the fact that you deal with PTSD, but the fact that as a black man, because it's so taboo within our realm, it's very much seen as taboo. Because I too did some therapy, and I had people, you think you're crazy? Why would you do that?
Oh man,
don't tell nobody.
Yes.
So you know how it is. So
we're
gonna start with your story, and we're gonna get into this. So let's know where you're from. We're gonna start from the beginning. Let's do the origin of Fred Nutter here.
All right, cool, man. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. Born September 28, 77.
Okay.
Libra, man. And as life went on, found myself out there on my own. Found myself a father. Found myself in need of wanting to take better care of my family.
Okay.
I decided to go to the military.
Okay.
The military, was definitely a blessing, where it allowed me to take care of my family a lot better. Allow me to get some type of trade and skills. I tell anybody, unless you got rich parents or some kind of scholarship or something of that nature, the military can, I stress the word can, be a good place to go.
Right.
Fast forward a little bit, after basic training, AIT, all that good stuff, I went to the good old 101st Airborne Division, Fort Campbell.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you very much. Fort Campbell, Kentucky, 217 Cavalry Unit, and found myself in Iraq. Okay. Did about 12 to 13 months there.
Okay.
Of course, in any type of war zone or any type of environment like that, you're going to find yourself witnessing and seeing certain things that are totally unnatural.
Right.
Totally other than normal.
This is the Iraq. This is Iraq. When it was
2003.
Yeah.
George W. Bush Jr.
Yeah.
And you find yourself witnessing things involuntarily. Just the culture of war, the demands of war, the cadence of war is just very fast-paced, often traumatic.
Okay. So you in the thick of it, you in the thick of firefights and
definitely. We started off in Kuwait, and we made our way all the way up to a place called Mosul. Okay. Which is at towards the top of Iraq, and I think the next country would be Turkey. Okay. So I can't remember how many thousands of miles or how many hundreds or thousands of miles that is, but you know, it took us about 9 months to drive there.
Really?
And then we stationed there and spent maybe the last 3 months there, and then we began to work our way back down. But going back down, of course, we went straight through. Right. You know, stopped, of course, and everything, but it was a straight drive through. Okay. And along that route, in addition to, you know, of course, missing your family, missing just your everyday luxuries that you really come to appreciate. Even just going through a drive-through restaurant, man, it's just like the ultimate luxury when you're over there in that type of environment. And you know, you begin to, you know, you're just left with your thoughts. Right. You're left with the memories of what you just experienced. You're left with all the feelings of, man, you know, feelings of isolation, feelings of fear. Okay. Feelings of, you know, desperation, feelings of just wanting to live. Right. And
because this is, we talking about, you're in the situation, just for clarity for people who weren't around during that time. You're talking about being in the thick of combat where you're not seeing, like in the movies where it looks so nice and you know, they're all going to the nice bars and having a good time and stuff. You're not seeing stuff like that.
No, definitely not nothing like that. Hollywood definitely puts a spin on it. Right. Probably for multiple reasons. Right. I think if half the people knew how ugly a combat zone really was, you know, they would think twice about even, you know, ridiculing a veteran, judging a veteran, you know, looking down on a veteran. Right. People automatically assume when you say you're a veteran, you're crazy. Yeah. Yeah. You know, what's wrong with you? Yeah. You know, what did you see? Come on, tell me. And most veterans, we don't even want to talk about that.
No, of course not.
We don't even want to talk about it. You notice in the book, I didn't feel a need to go over a lot of details. Right. It's not even about that. You know, I spent years and years and years trying to filter the effects of it. I know I can never forget it, but I just wanted to get to a point where if I did have that type of flashback or memory, that I wouldn't want to get sick. Yeah. That I wouldn't want to just pull my car over and put my head down. Yeah. Because I did that for years. You know, like I really suffered. Yeah. You know, I really went through some things. You know?
So you went through. So you were in the service. How long were you in the service?
I was in the service 8 years.
8 years. So you were 8 years. Were you full in combat readiness during that time, or were you ever like at a?
Not full combat readiness. When I was at Fort Campbell, of course I was. They told me when I got my orders at an AIT, you're going across the pond, man. You know, I'm just letting you know now. Yeah. You know, I wish they didn't even tell me that, man. You know, and so by the grace of God, I was able to make it back home. Right. And
that's a blessing right there.
Yeah, that's definitely in itself, you know, and I was able to reclassify my what they call an MOS, military occupational specialty. Okay. Because I always wanted to be in the medical field. Right. I originally wanted to go into the military to be in the medical field. They said, no, that ain't available. But just take this job here and you can always find another one later, you know.
But that turns into
that turns into something else, man. You know, so right. But I had an opportunity. I said the only way I'll re-enlist is if I get into a, you know, something that I knew I could make a living off of. Okay. More comfortably. Right. If I decided that I didn't want to be what they call a lifer. Right. And somebody who retired. Right. You know, do 20, 25 years, whatever. Yeah. You know. And,
well, I mean, especially if you start out in a war zone, you really. I think that would put it in a different perspective where you don't necessarily want to stay there. And you know what? It's not that I wanted to change my MOS because I didn't want to go back to a war zone. Like I said, at that time, I did not realize what I was going to be facing later on. Right. You know, I was like, man, I made it through it. You know, if I have to do it again, I will. Right. You know, but like I say, fast forward, my PTSD really kicked in later on. Okay, so that's what we were going to get to.
Yeah,
so,
it really kicked in later on.
So you get out of service 8 years later. So do you start to feel any effects of the PTSD right away? Or was it a slow creep on you?
You know what? Honestly, I would say after my third or fourth day back home, the signs began to trickle in. Everything from just the insomnia, the sleepwalking, the irritability, the anxiety was just through the roof. I was feeling like I should be doing something right now. You know, I don't know what it is, but I should be doing something right now. You know, just the moodiness. You know, it was almost as if I took on like a bipolar type. You know, complex or something. You know, one minute you're fine, the next minute when that memory or that scent or that sound, you know, comes into play, you know, it's like you just, you know, you can go into somewhat of like an awake slumber. Your eyes are wide open, you're not blinking, you're not moving, you're frozen. You know, and you really relive the entire experience all over again from front to back. You know, and that is that's the scary part. That's when and I was married at the time. You know,
and this is this was your first wife that you were married to? Correct.
Yeah, I was married at the time, and you know, she began to notice certain things. And of course me. You know, I just came from war. What do you expect? You know what I mean?
And I guess your pride too.
You know, and then pride, and you know, there's nothing wrong with me. Don't tell me something's wrong with me. You know, what's wrong with you? You know, why can't you just support? Why can't you just be more supportive? Why can't you just, you know, XYZ? You know what I mean? So, you know, even though if you were to talk to her today, she would say, yeah, I could have done a lot of things differently.
Well, you know, hindsight.
You know, I could have, you know, backed off of him a little bit because, you know, their demands continue. You know,
everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. You know, you know, at Monday morning, we all knew what would have made the game perfect. You know, but all of us do that. So
but you know, they always say hindsight is 20/20. It's high definition, fully in focus, man. And looking back now, you know, I just say, man, you know, had I known what I know today, you know, I would have ran straight to somebody's couch, or closed door session, you know, to say, hey, man, this is not how I want to live the next 15 years of my life.
So you had a 15-year stretch where you did before you.
It's about a 15-year stretch. Yeah. Actually, no, it's 15 years up to this point today. You know, but I first entered into therapy about 3 or 4 years ago. But I would go, then I would stop. You know, man, they just in there, you know. Then I would go again, you know, just to appease others. You know, just to make lying to myself, making myself think that, oh, see, I'm getting help. See, you know. Back off me, you know, treat me better, you know, open up to me again, you know. I know I'm volatile. I know I'm, you know, a little, you know, I'm this way one minute, I'm this way the next minute, you know. I know all that, but forget all that. No, people can't forget all of that.
No.
People want to live a healthy and productive life with you. And in order for them to do that, you have to give them what they need as well. And that is a healthy man. That's a healthy individual.
And that's what you wanted. That's what you want to get to at some point, you know.
That's the ultimate goal.
So, and I'm asking because, again, you know, we definitely focusing on you, but I too went through therapy. I started about 6 years ago. I just started seeing patterns that I didn't like. And I started seeing things about myself that I could see, and I realized that mine was childhood things. You know, I saw things as a child, and I moved around a lot and stayed with a lot. So I had things I needed to unpack. And I hit bottom when I just was all over the place. I was not focused. I just was floating through life. And it hit me one day, like, you really need to sit down and talk to somebody, you know? And I say that to ask you, what point did you seek out the therapy? What was your catalyst to say, hey, let me sit down and try to talk to somebody and unpack some of this?
Well, first of all, congratulations to you for acknowledging that.
Thank
I don't want to skip past that.
I appreciate that.
That's huge. I know what it takes to do that. I think the changing point for me was when I saw that my fatherhood was being affected.
Same here.
You know, there would be times when my daughters would call me, and I would look down at the phone and see their name or their picture pop up, and because I was in that dark place, I wouldn't even answer it, man. I didn't even, not because I didn't want to talk to them,
Right.
because I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want them to see me.
Right.
One, I probably couldn't stop the weeping.
Yeah.
As a man, I was crying.
Yeah.
I was hurt, man. You know, and I'm not ashamed to say, I was hurt.
I mean, man, that's the best. You know what? To be accountable and stand up and be transparent. That's the best way to heal. So again, I congratulate you too. That's we need. You probably are helping so many brothers right now that see this, and be like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. And if we only get to one person, that's something.
Hey man, that mission. You know what?
You know what I'm saying?
If I can save one man, or if I can help save one marriage, or stop one soldier from committing suicide, or doing something, becoming a mass shooter or something like that, I'm happy. And even if I give them pause, and they continue to do it, but I just gave you pause. At least you were presented with an option, and that's what's lacking in a lot of men. A lot of men just feel as though there's no other options. Right. That's why the suicide rate among veterans is so high. Sky high. So things in the 30s now. Yeah. How many civilians, people that haven't even seen a combat zone or the theater, commit suicide? I think 132, somewhere around there, a day. Daily. By the time you and I are done with this interview, how many have taken their lives? Man? Because there's no other option. Right. And because especially, and again, I'm not really, everybody, if you need help and you need support system, please reach out and get it. Find it where you can. Definitely. But our community, for whatever reason, we have a very negative feeling when you talk about, I'm going to go get therapy, or even I have a friend, his marriage was failing. His wife wanted to do therapy. He was livid. He was like, why would you want me to sit and talk to some, he called me one day like, she lost her mind. Oh, Dale, she think this is, I was like, dude, there's nothing wrong with that to save your marriage. To say y'all have children, it's other things at play, He wasn't, he was like, get it, and it's like, it's that stigma for whatever reason that people have, you know what I mean? Like I was talking, and we're going to get right back to you. I was talking to a cousin of mine, and he's been through some crazy stuff. And I said, man, please, I said, I'll even go with you. Just sit down and talk to somebody and get some of that off you. You've been through too much, And it's like, for whatever reason, we have that fear that people will judge us, or that it's something. To me, it takes a strength to try to heal and do better and get to a better headspace, you know. And I mean, I say that again. We're getting back to your story. So you went a few years ago to start when you start being estranged from your children, which I know all about that. So what led you to the role to finally sit down and buckle in and say, I have PTSD, I have this trauma, let me try to get better? I think the thing that really led up to it was when I saw myself constantly, I was stuck in a vicious cycle. And that cycle was so vicious that even though there was something inside of me that wanted to be better, even when I still worked for the company I worked for, I wanted to be a better employee. I wanted to be a better dad. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to just be a better son, brother, friend, whatever. Right. And one day, when I did go to the counseling service, I had a counselor there. Her name was Miss Nona. Okay. And I thank God for Miss Nona. Miss Nona read right through me. She saw right through me. And make a long story short, Miss Nona was so brutally honest with me about what she saw, and in her prediction for what she knew where I was going to be. Okay. I had already lived, so I knew she was right. Right. And so by hearing it again, she lit a spark in me, just enough to where that little spark turned into just a brush fire. Okay. Okay. And it just began to consume my desire and will to want to do better. Okay. The thing that kept me from, just to lead up into that, the thing that kept me from seeking help and taking that help seriously was what you mentioned earlier, the stigma that's put on
right.
women. And, you know, not that it's about race, because trauma crosses all racial lines.
Oh, man, yeah. It's
you know, but I can
board.
only speak as an African-American male.
Right.
You know, of course, you know, you're not attractive if you meet a woman and you're going through therapy.
Yeah,
Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Girl, he crazy.
Yeah.
You know, what's you know, no. You know?
That's one of the things that is definitely something we feel.
Man, you know, I've heard it all.
Oh yeah.
I've heard it all. And you know, even to this day, there are still some people who do not get it that, you know, this is not something that I asked for.
Yeah.
This is not something that, you know, I said, hey, let me go and find some traumatic stuff to feed and live off of and just destroy my life. You know what I mean? A lot of people still, you know, out there, it's a funny story. It's funny to me now, but I went to see a friend of mine, and his, I don't know if the thing was a friend of his wife or whatever, but she knew who I was. I didn't know who she was. And she said, I heard you wrote a book. I said, yeah. She said, it's about PTSD. I said, yeah. She said, oh, I didn't know you was crazy.
Wow. Are you serious? She came just like that. Wow. You know.
And he looked at her like, oh. He was like, baby, come here and get your friend.
Yeah.
He was like, that's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard.
Man.
But you know what? I said, man, you can't blame her.
Yeah.
You know, you really can't. You can't blame somebody for that type of ignorant remark, because ignorance is just when you just don't know. You're ignorant to it. You know,
one of the bad things is that movies and even the news,
there you go,
always depict the person that, like, you know, that's the basis of whatever caused the violent act that they did. So people have a very, you know, PTSD is not just somebody picking up a gun shooting a bunch of people. PTSD is somebody sitting in a corner quivering, unable to do anything. You know, PTSD is that trauma where you get triggered by something. You know, where you're, you know, I give you example for me. I literally, you know, one of my most traumatic events that I ever saw in my life, I was probably 16. I was in Las Vegas, and I saw a drive-by happen in real time. It happened right there.
Wow.
And it's funny. I guess we can laugh at this now, but so I was trying to talk to this girl. We go into the 7-Eleven, and these guys were arguing outside. I didn't care. I mean, I'm 16. I'm young. I'm stupid. And I'm trying to talk to this girl, and I look up and I see the first gun, and the girl starts screaming. And I'm finna be honest, y'all. This is full disclosure. So I pushed her down to get her out my way so I could move, because they about to shoot. But I landed on her when I fell, because all of a sudden there's bullets and stuff flying. Wow. Yeah. She thought I saved her life. I was trying to save myself. I know that's terrible, y'all. Don't judge me. I'm just telling the truth.
Wow. But I get it.
When we got up, you know, when the gunfire stopped, I go out the door. The guy, half his face was gone. You know, the bullets hit him.
Yeah.
Half his face was gone.
Yeah.
I turned completely, my whole body froze. Like, I couldn't stop looking.
Of course.
I tried to look away and couldn't.
Yeah. And
that was probably like a very traumatic, serious thing. And, you know, I always heard people say that the blood doesn't wash off. And when I went to go take a shower, I remember standing there till the water got cold, because it seemed like it was just a little. It wasn't a lot that got on me, but it was just it was such a mess outside, and it was crazy. I mean, it was a literal drive-by that happened, and that was something that really was, you know, even to this day, I can't like watch Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society. I can't watch that. That has no entertainment value for me, right? Because I saw it in real time, and there was nothing. You know, in the movies they do it, and people get up and he didn't get up. Two people didn't get up. The other guy, I saw him, but he was a little further away. So I didn't see what he looked like. He was just laying there. Wow. And so for me at 16, that was, you know, I have a bullet wound inside of my head, you know, where I got grazed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to look at PTSD from a different perspective. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you here, to have another male to discuss this. Because a lot of times we all have a thing where we think, like you said, people say, you have PTSD, you crazy. You dealing with trauma, are you crazy? I did a post where I was talking about mental wellness because, May was mental wellness month. And I was just saying how, I went to seek therapy 6 years ago and how it's been enlightening for me, how I enjoyed it. Most people were giving me kudos and, being very supportive. But I had like 2 or 3 people that went in my inbox like, so, you sure you all right? You don't feel crazy enough, do you? I'm like, man, come on, man. No. I mean, that was the whole purpose of going to therapy. So you can unpack that stuff. So for you're estranged from your daughter. Mm. You're seeing yourself, and so were you? And I know some of this because we, I know, but for our viewers and stuff. Yeah. So whatever you feel comfortable with, let us know your journey from. Okay, I'm at a bad space here. Yeah. I need to heal. What are your steps? Whatever you feel comfortable with. Yeah,
I think the first step is immediately I saw that I did the same thing every day. Okay. I mean, it was routine. Wake up in the morning, I'd make a whole pot of coffee and sit on the couch. Sit on the couch. And really, I would await the terror because I knew it was coming. I was just so, I like clockwork, So what I began to do was I just began to change my routine. Okay. I began to read more. I began to go different places, see different things. I think I'm more speaking about what I actually did, and those are things I still do today. But from being in a dark place to being, I guess, quote unquote, where I am today, right. Even being able to talk about this, right. I lost a lot. Yeah. I lost a lot. I actually remarried. Okay. And unmarried.
Yeah, right.
Right. And that was very devastating to me because it was in the process when I was in the middle of my counseling session. Right. Evidently, and we both had grievances at that time. Right. It's never one person's fault in any relationship. I don't care what you go through with, but the fact that I'd still dealt with what I dealt with didn't help the situation anymore. So I'm in the peak of my counseling session, but like I was told in the beginning, you're gonna have some losses. There's gonna be some casualties behind this. Yeah. The goal is shake off whatever you got to shake off whoever you have to shake off, so that you don't have to lose anything else going forward. Right. Mainly losing yourself. Right. And really getting back to Fred. Okay. Pre 9/11. Right. Pre me raising my right hand. So I guess I'm at a point now, man, where it's daily work.
So you just look at it from like the perspective, I hate to say it this way, but like a lot of times when people go to rehab, they say every day is the first day. So is that the way that you go about it? Like today is day one. I'm still in a good place. This is a new day. And
yeah. You know what? You actually do that in the beginning, and you don't know anything else. You got to treat every day like it's the first day. Right. Every day. One thing I made the mistake of doing was you go a few times and you start to get a little cocky. Just because you had 3 or 4 good days in a row, you feel like you don't have to go I ain't got to go this week. Oh, it's Wednesday already. I ain't got to go this week. Right. I've been cool. I've been good. You know what I mean? But that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Right. You are not that far along in the process in a week, to where you can, look, I've been going through it for years now. Okay. And I'm still going. Right. And because not so much that I suffer from it to the degree that I was suffering, but that I don't want to suffer like that anymore. Okay. And if I need constant reassurance, and it's not anyone's responsibility to reassure me to, this isn't their bag to carry. Right. This isn't their burden. That's one thing that I know I did do was I burned people out. With my mess. Right. Hey, hold this for me. Right. I made others responsible for my well-being. Right. Which is so dangerous. Right. Extremely dangerous because nobody can look out for you the way you look out for you. And when you hold other people accountable for making you happy and your well-being, and make sure my girls are straight, and make sure this and make sure that, because I can't do it, kind of man would I be? You know, so you got to pick up. You gotta pick up that plow yourself, and you gotta plow your own rows and plant your own seeds and cover it back up and water it and tend to it. And just like a farmer, man, you know, they say being a farmer is one of the hardest jobs. They say that job is so hard because you're constantly tilling and planting and reaping and sowing and reaping and sowing, and you have to sow into yourself. You're gonna reap what you sow into yourself.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. So for, and again, I'm asking for more for people on going back to the book, voluntary torture. Explain to us what that means.
Voluntary torture, the same way I volunteered to go to the service, not fully knowing the full extent of, you know, what I was getting into. You know, it's an old saying, you know, the drill sergeants mess with you in basic training, say, and y'all came in here for the college money. Y'all didn't know it was going to be like this, right? You know, and they laugh about it, you know, and there is a certain torture to being in basic training, man. It's stressful. It's designed to be that way. You know, and so voluntary torture is a lot of things that we voluntarily take on. Like I volunteered to get married. You know, I volunteered to have children. You know, whatever it is you volunteer for, if you find that it is causing you a certain misery or a certain torture, so to speak, you know, the whole title of voluntary torture is about accountability. Being accountable for the decisions that you made. And even though it may be torturing you, you signed up for it. So, you know, it started with you. It's going to end with you, regardless of what's in the middle. That doesn't matter, you know, but it's about self accountability. This whole book is about holding yourself, I'm not going to say accountable, but holding yourself responsible for your own mental health, your own mental prosperity, your own mental well-being. You know, it's, you know, I had to give myself permission to be happy. Like, man, it's okay. You can be happy. You're having a good day. But see, part of trauma will tell you, you don't deserve this joy right now. You should really be, there's so much you could be worried about right now. You should be still feeling guilty. You should feel guilty for what you saw. Okay. That doesn't make sense.
No, not at all.
What do you mean I should feel guilty for what I saw? You should feel guilty for what was done to you. You should still have your head hung down for something that you did or that you saw. You know what I mean? And so voluntary torture is just about not having any regrets for what you saw. For what was done to you, for what you did, the things I had to do just to survive, you know, and make it home or make it back to the camp, you know what I mean, to even getting out of the military, you know, and just living a daily life. Because so many people, and I don't want people to think this is PTSD only comes from, you know, PTSD has this, you know, it's like chained to veterans. But I so many brothers and sisters I speak to, even, you know, especially since the book has come out, you know, the sidebar conversations after the signings and things is, you know, I've never been to the service, but you know, I witnessed this. I saw this. This was done to me, you know, or I did this to someone, you know, and I'm haunted by it. I said, I know exactly what you mean. Some scary ghost, very scary ghost involved that ride on the horse of trauma into your life, man. You know what I mean? So, but voluntary torture is really just about no matter what happens, no matter where you are, there is still a perfect life for you. And I use the word perfect. Perfect never meant flawless. Perfect means a state of contentment. You know, I am just like the artist who paints the picture. Once he brushes that last stroke of paint, says, man, this picture is perfect. It's all now. Perfection is relative.
Yeah, right.
What's
right.
perfect for me may not be perfect for you, but guess what? You got your life, I got mine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you have to find what's perfect for you. Where will you be content? What makes you content? Do those things that make you happy in order to counter what doesn't make you happy. You can't just sit. You can't just sit there and face what doesn't make you happy and expect something happiness just to come in and override.
Y'all, I hope y'all
it.
writing this down because you're getting some knowledge right
You know,
now.
you'd really be
yeah.
what they call foolish,
Right.
to sit there and sulk and just like waiting for some happy, something happy to just come in and override. It doesn't happen that way.
Right.
You got to seek happiness. You have to seek it,
And that's where you are now. You're in that space
constantly,
where you're
constantly,
okay.
daily seeking happiness, because life throws enough unhappiness at you.
Right.
So what do? Do you just sit there and say, poor me? And because I did that, man, I felt sorry for myself. I felt as though, the world should have pity on me, man.
Yeah.
They don't know what I've been through. They don't know what man, shut up.
And you done pulled yourself up.
Yeah, you pull yourself up from nothing.
Yeah.
From absolutely nothing. There was times I didn't speak to my parents. I didn't speak to my sisters, my children. I shut the world out because I did not understand even what was going on with me.
Right.
And how can I communicate to other people how to be with me if I don't understand it myself?
Right.
Trauma is very silencing. Trauma can hit the mute button on your vocal chakra,
right,
so to
man.
speak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It can hit the mute button,
So when you started the journey of translating what you were feeling to the book form, and again, we're gonna show this as much as we possibly can, Voluntary Torture. Was this a way for you to battle some of the demons that you had, or was this after you've already battled them and you said, hey, let me try to write this down to help somebody else in their situation? You know
what? I fell in love with writing all over again. I remember writing my first anything at 14 years old.
Okay.
At 14 years old. And I always wrote from time to time. I always enjoyed writing. I got a little older. I fell in love with spoken word.
Okay.
Fell in love with poetry.
Alien Brain.
Alien Brain, produced by Simon Stone, classic.
They don't know about that. We got to drop that.
Yeah, classic.
We're going to talk about that after this.
And, I just fell in love with it, even found myself recording some music, did a jazz soundtrack called Prodigy Sensation, King Amongst Kings CD, Alien Brain, quite a few features on other artist projects and things. Did a lot of writing for ghost writing for other spoken word artists. And one day in my PTSD class, that's why I say to go and actually seek help. I did not know all of this. I didn't know a book was a couple years down the road. I really didn't.
Right.
But she said, I want you all, she gave us an assignment to begin to write things down. She said, I want you all to write a letter to yourself and or where you want to be 5 years from now. And so I wrote that letter, and we had to read that letter out loud. Okay. She thought it was going to be a page or two or whatever. Man, mine was like 5 or 6 pages.
Right.
And she literally almost cried when I went up there with this stack of papers. And she was like, and so I'm reading it, and I get to the end. And of course, when you fall in love with writing, your dictations, right? Your commas, your punctuation. Right. She said, you need to write a book. You need from now on. She said, I don't care if you write it 20 years from now. Okay. You need to write down everything. And you know what? What made her say that was my reaction after I read it. I gave the biggest exhale. She said, did you hear that? You just exhaled so much. Man, I was shaking. I had goosebumps.
So I was reading it. You literally released some of that trauma and some of the demons that you had been battling. It was a literal thing where you felt it. You felt the weight lifted off you.
Not only writing it, but actually reading it. You know how they say in the beginning God created,
right?
And he said, "Let there be." He spoke everything into existence. He didn't do anything. He just spoke it. I felt like I tapped into that same creative power just by speaking my own words back to myself. The same way, you know, they say God's word goes out and it doesn't come back void.
Right.
You know, and I'm not trying to sound like a preacher or nothing like that, man, but his word doesn't come back void. So for me to actually speak these words and hear myself, and at the same time I'm reading and I'm visualizing everything that I'm writing, and I'm seeing myself, this older version of me, you know, I began to get excited. You know, because you know, and I kept those papers for, man, years. I lost them. I don't know what happened to them. Probably moving and stuff, man. But, and I would always go back and read it. And I would say, man, you know, I want the 50-year-old to look back and thank the 40-year-old.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I want to be 50 and say, man, thank you when you was 40 that you got yourself together.
Yeah,
man.
and that's exactly what it is right there.
Yeah.
We need to get to a place where we're comfortable with being uncomfortable, where we are in a safe place within being unsafe. So, because that's how you heal. If you're not willing to look at yourself and say there's something wrong, or and not even necessarily, let's not use wrong because maybe the negative word is what does it. There's something that's unbalanced, and let's get things balanced. And once you do that, that feeling is like nothing else. You know, I mean, because I mean, like I said, I could, just like you, we all have a story, and it's like, for me personally, there was a day when I had a breakthrough, and I mean, and again, I'm gonna come to you with that same thing. My breakthrough, I literally saw a tree I didn't see the day before in front. I live in the same apartment, and I was like, man, is that tree here yesterday? It had to be, because it's a whole tree. They didn't plant a tree, but I didn't see it. I had been living in that same apartment for 6 months. I never saw that tree to that day because my eyes were open. I remember when Pharrell first came out with Happy, I thought it was the worst song I ever heard. I was like, he took that from the meters. That's trash. But then once I started going to therapy and I had a few breakthroughs, the song feel different. It hit me different because now I can understand Happy. You know what I mean? Whereas at one point I couldn't understand that type of Happy. You know what I mean? My biggest thrill at one point was, you know, my band, you know, shout out to Heavy Mojo, shout out to my brother, B Dirty, Pre-Shooby Dooby, Todd, and, you know, Juice Blend too. Got to give him some. But I used to love just getting on the stage and screaming as loud as I could every now and then. That was my way to, and after I did it, I felt better. But, you know, once the lights went out, the demons came back. Once I got home and, you know, the adrenaline is down and I'm in the house and it's just me and my thoughts, here it is, you know. So that day I had my breakthrough, I felt like the world had opened up. I could see things I couldn't see. I had conversations with my dad that I needed to have. I had conversations with different family members that we needed to have. You know what I mean?
Think about what you just said. You didn't like Happy because you didn't know what Happy was.
I didn't know. Now
you like the song.
Love it. And I'm serious. I legit, when I first heard Happy, I can tell you exactly the words I say. I was like, that's a meter song. My father used to listen to that. And I literally changed the station. I was like, psh. I was in the car, and I was like, this is a meter song.
Forget the message.
Yeah, and because I couldn't, I wasn't ready to be happy. You know what I'm saying?
You wasn't ready for that.
So for you,
exactly.
So you had that Excel, and you released, you had a big release. Now you're on the road to recovery at that point.
Correct.
And what did that look like for you? What was that for Fred? What was that?
Oh, wow. The road to recovery was, it was like a sine wave, up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, I would be on top of the world one minute, and then I would be down in the valley the next.
Okay.
One time I was so down in the valley, I wanted to commit suicide. You know, I wanted to commit suicide.
Do you feel comfortable telling that story?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
I don't mind it at all.
Because I'm sure this is going to help somebody. Yeah. Somebody's going to watch this and say, you know what? I feel like that maybe I need to go ahead and get that
definitely
help. And please do get the help, okay? Do it. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this special episode. Please get your help. So tell us about that moment. Is this your rock bottom moment? This
is my definite rock bottom moment.
Okay.
Anytime you're ready to take your own life and leave behind everything that could ever matter to you, even if it doesn't matter right now,
right,
but it could matter, and that you know should matter. Anytime you're ready to remove yourself from that situation and not give anybody else an option other than to deal with it, that's rock bottom. That is it's rock bottom in a very selfish way. I was at a bar. I was just, you know what? I couldn't fight the butterflies anymore.
Right.
I couldn't stop the memories. I mean, it was like everything was just at a double time.
Right.
All that day. I just felt like it was, you know, they say the monkey on your back just beating you in the head. And I was at a bar, and the alcohol definitely does not help.
No, not at all.
It doesn't help.
Not at all.
It doesn't, you know. It numbs you, but it numbs you for a little while. But you're gonna, you're gonna call for more. Trauma will want more and more and more, because from the time you take that first sip, trauma says, I like that. That makes him feel worse, but trauma feels better. Right. I can flood him with even more memories and more thoughts. So I had a few, man. And I had, for some reason, I don't know what made me dial this number. I called one of my club brothers, the one that I was always the closest with, and really connected. I connected with all my motorcycle club. Yeah. I mean, I connect with a lot of my brothers, but this is one guy. His name is Dante. We call him Chili Red. Yeah. And
good dude.
Real good dude, man. And I called him, and we probably was on the phone maybe 30 seconds. And he was like, "Hey, what's going on, King?" You know. And I was just, I don't even remember what I was saying. He told me I was just kind of mumbling, but he just knew something wasn't right. And I think he was cooking. He told me he was cooking. And so I finished up my drink. I think I had ordered one more drink when I got off the phone with him. Finished it up, and I'm thinking about, man, I should have a whole clip at home. You know, should have a whole clip, because I had just went and bought me a 40 cal, little pistol. And so I was, got up, put my jacket on, dusted myself off, and I probably wouldn't even have made it home, and I was so drunk, man. Yeah. But I was looking out through the parking lot, and I saw this little blurry image coming up, and it was just walking straight to me. And I heard somebody say, "My man." I looked around, and it was Chili Red, man. And he came around.
Bless him for that.
Yeah, he came around, man, and he said, "Man, have a seat, bro. Have a seat. What's going on, man?" Began to talk to him, and I don't think I got 3 or 4 words out, man, before I just wept. Yeah. I cried like a baby, man. And I was trying to explain to him, and he didn't say one word. He just sat there. He didn't take his eyes off me. I don't even think the guy blinked, man. But he didn't look off. He didn't check his phone. He didn't do anything, man. He was just there to support. Right. And we probably sat there, I don't know how long, man. And we sat there long enough to where I was good enough to drive home. Right. Okay. And he made sure. He gave me all kind of tests to make sure I was able to drive home. And he called me on the way home, make sure I was good. And I say all of that to say, man, the importance of having a support system. Oh, yeah. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Exactly. And unfortunately, and I say this sadly, when you're dealing with something like trauma or PTSD, you're going to find yourself alone more often than you are going to find yourself in good company. Right. And that's just the honest truth. You don't think it's so strange that, especially if people are under the assumption that you're just too messed up to deal with. Yeah. You're going to find yourself by yourself. Right. But at the end of the day, man, you have to remember you got you. Yeah. I wrote there's in the book, it says, "I will feed me if you won't. Right. I need me if you don't." Right. About that self. It all comes back to self. Yeah,
and that's what people need to understand, that when you're on that journey of healing, still reach out to people. But know that the end game to this is you being whole within yourself. Whatever that part of you may have lost, or whatever that part of you that has not necessarily connected properly with where you are and where you should be going. You know, where you reconcile that. That's the journey that you need to be on. And sometimes you need to sit down with somebody else that can direct you on how to do that. And definitely. You know, one of the things that I'm thanking you immensely for taking the time out, and you know, I cannot stress enough that this book is outstanding. Please pick this up. Voluntary Torture, a PTSD story, outstanding. The purpose of this was myself. Like I said, I too have went through a therapy journey. I would like to help anybody that does this, that takes that journey to do that, because we need healing. You know, we need healing, and that's anybody. You know, I don't care if you black woman, black, white, man, woman, child, you know, Jew, Gentile, Jewish, Gentile, whatever you may be, whatever you are, you need, if you need it, get it. You know, don't be ashamed to say it. Don't be ashamed to reach out, or if you have a friend that you need to talk to and say, hey, buddy, you know, just let me talk to you for a minute, or hey, lady, let me talk to you. Do that. You know, find that anchor. If you feel you can't, if you can't afford some therapy, let's say, because that might be a problem for some people. Therapy can be a little pricey depending on what you do. Just find somebody to talk to.
You know, there's so many groups, you know, and you know, in closing or whatever, but you know, there's help out there. You know, there's so many groups. And worst case scenario, you can find me on Facebook. I'm at Fred Nutter Jr. You can send me an inbox message. I'm on Instagram at Frederick_writer. You know,
I was just gonna ask you to do that.
You know, just you know, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Exactly. You know, and hopefully I could say just something, you know, to get you this, you know, to get you to see, man, you are so much bigger than your trauma, man. You know, so I really want to thank you for taking the time, man, and the story that you told and sharing with so much transparency, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Man. Oh man, I this is probably something close to my heart right here, because like I said, I too have been there. You know, I know the feeling. I'm gonna tell you one other story, and my buddies will probably trip out. My band was performing. We have a song that was really popular at the time, Heavy Quiet, we used to do. And I had a meltdown because my grandfather had just died. My grandfather meant the world to me, you know. And I had a meltdown. And the funny thing was that because my band was so rambunctious, everybody thought it was just part of the show. Nobody realized I was really having a moment, you know. And it's funny that I think now, if I could have went back and talked to myself, you know, how many things I would have said and how many things I would have done different. You know, I would have probably went way earlier and got therapy. You know, a dear friend of mine, shout to Madeline, she was going through therapy, and we had a conversation. And at first I was like, what you mean? What's that? You know, because the ignorance of it. And thank God that I was able to overcome my fear of being judged or what have you. You know, and I, in closing, just want to thank you for, you know, putting yourself out there and letting yourself be a beacon, because that is what this is. You being a beacon. You know, there's somebody that's going to pick this up and, you know, be it whoever it is, and say, you know what, this helped. I feel better. And I thank you for doing that, you know, and I mean, it's an inspiration to me. I respect the fact that you've been so open with us here, sharing your PTSD and traumas so openly. I appreciate it. We're going to do a couple shouts out. We're going to let you get out of here. Again, Voluntary Torture, Fred Nutter Jr. You can find him on Facebook. Fred Nutter Jr. is his name. Frederick_writer on Instagram. Good brother, man. Y'all please support him. Get yourself a book. You know, get yourself a couple. Share them with some friends or whatever. Can't thank this brother enough. I'm going to send a couple shouts out and let you do the same. Jay Bug, who brought us together originally. Thank you. Cypher's Den, Jaquan, my man. Got to show you some love. EG, it's right there for EG. You know, Simply Bree, Sabrina, because she used to do a lot for us back in the day.
Definitely.
Mimosa, and prayers up to Mimosa. She's going through something serious.
Yeah, we're here for you, Mimosa.
Prayers up. The whole crew that we used to be around. If I'm leaving somebody out, blame the Noah, Natasha, Noah. How was I going?
Natasha Noel, the free bird, man.
God
Definitely.
bless her. God bless her. That's oh, she's so sweet. But just thank everybody. Who was the therapist sister?
Kim McCants.
Kim McCants.
King's Advocate.
King's Advocate. Yeah. Peace to her. That oil was something serious.
Oh, man.
That oil was something serious. You want to give any shouts out?
Yeah, man. I want to thank, of course, the Cypher's Den, Jaquan, Simon Stone, Jay Boogie, Nikki Divine.
Oh, Nikki Divine.
Euphoria.
She gonna choke me out.
Yeah, Euphoria. Man, she great beverages. She came through and blessed everybody.
Yeah.
I just also want to shout out Zulu's MC, Akron, Ohio, Columbus chapter, Atlanta chapter, Cartersville, and most importantly, I just want to thank my family.
Yeah.
I just want to thank my 3 precious daughters, and I just want to thank everybody, just for being here to support this. This wasn't an easy journey, man, and I'm just grateful that I'm even able to talk about this. That's what it is, man.
You made it.
Yeah,
You're still here.
I'm still here,
Thank
man.
God,
and I plan on being here. I plan on being here. It's just God added another calling to my list.
Yeah.
And if it's through this word, then we're gonna let it ride out, man. You know what I mean? So we're gonna be strong. We're gonna make it. You gonna make it.
Yeah.
And whoever's listening or watching this, you are not alone. And just reach out to somebody, and do not do something irreversible. Don't even think about that. You got too much life to live.
Yeah.
And you got too many heights to climb.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get it done. Let's get there, man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You'll see. You'll see in the end.
But again, we're gonna say this again. Voluntary torture. I don't want to block anything. Voluntary torture. Once again, we sending some serious shouts out. J Bug, because that's who brought us together. I always gotta put her up. Nikki Divine, Tracy Talks. Everybody, just anybody that's been part of our journey, we want to thank you. Again, this is the NERDSEXY experience. This is Fred Nutter, Voluntary Torture. Thank you, my brother, for coming in,
thank
man.
you for having
and
me.
with that, this is a special. Usually we real silly on here, but today we did something real serious. Do me a favor. Somebody cares, okay? I say it a lot of times being sarcastic and funny. I mean, if you need to holler at me, I may not answer you real quick, depending, because I got a regular 9 to 5. You understand? So, but please hit somebody up. Hit me up if you need to. If I don't hit you right away, please believe I'll get back with you. I know what it feels like to be in them dark spaces. My brother Fred just was telling you how it is to be in the dark spaces, and I appreciate him for coming here, being so open, honest, transparent. Get help if you need it. Do not let anybody or any stigma tell you that it's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
There's only something wrong if you give up. Don't give up.
There you go.
Don't give in. Tomorrow will be better than today. With that, thank you for tuning in to this special NERDSEXY experience today. Deal with yourself on the inside. Love yourself. There's nothing sexier. There's nothing nerdier. And you can be NERDSEXY. Love you first, okay? Peace and love. Thank y'all. NERDSEXY experience. Fred Nutter, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all. Thanks. And that's a wrap.